are chips formations in Madden 25? Well, the simple answer is that this is a formation in which the game considers your wing formations as wide receivers. But because of this, with them lined up in tight end style wing roles, there's some glitches that you guys need to be aware of in this formation that allow you to block better and also unlock some one-play touchdown potential. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, get out your pen and pad, and let's lock in. Now, as I mentioned, a chips formation is going to be an empty style formation where wide receivers are oftentimes going to be on block and release routes before they get into their pattern. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, there's not a lot of value to these routes just because the game is super inconsistent with how they block and then release into the pattern. In fact, a lot of times if there's a contained rusher off the edge, they will just auto release and let that guy come in free. So you can get yourself into trouble with some of these tight end or wing style delay routes. But that does not mean that there isn't value to be taken from these formations. You actually are going to be able to notice that there is some pretty cool blocking tricks to this. So I want to show you this empty chips nasty. We're in the Seattle Seahawks playbook, although these styles of formations are found throughout the game and you should be able to find them in most playbooks. Now, I'm just going to call it arbitrary play here, and I just want to show you an example of, let's say, for instance, that we're dealing with a player that maybe is blitzing us because we are in an empty formation. If we were to be in a position where they are running a contained style blitz, for instance, there is a solid chance that our delay flat routes on both sides of the field will just auto release into their pattern and boom, we're getting sacked. So this is a bad situation, but it doesn't mean that we can't block a 6-man pressure. We'll notice here that with the wing adjustments, I'm going to take a look at the left wing. You're going to see that these are slot hot routes as evidenced by the zig pattern that I could put my tight end or my wing on. That's kind of been a theme for this week. We did a video earlier in the week on how to kind of use an audible trick, if you will, to get tight end zigs. Well, these formations at a face value allow you to put your tight ends on zigs. But one of the things that's actually really sneaky is that there's a hidden blocking trick. If you can motion one of your wings into the backfield, he becomes the running back. This is also really good to create 4 strong, turn off match, flood zone, create man rubs and swaps. It's a great weapon. You're going to notice that now we have the ability to put our running back onto a pass protection. And if we motion him back, it actually doesn't pass protect him. That's because there is a little bit of a trick to this. So what I want to do is I want to go back into the motion of the running back into the backfield. Now what we're going to do is we are going to do a max protection. Now keep in mind when you max protect, what this does is this blocks anybody that is a running back or a tight end. Now remember, we already specified these are slot receivers. So what ends up happening is when we max protect, this is going to block just the running back, but not your wing tight end. For whatever reason, when we motion him back after a max protect, he will stay on a blocking assignment. So this is a really weird thing. Again, if you were to motion him in the backfield and then physically block him and then motion him back out, he will actually turn into a, like a swing route. But if you use the max protect feature, it will keep him on his blocking assignment after you move. So this is a really, really cool trick. Now, as it pertains this player after a max protect, you're going to notice that if I motion him out and motion him back in, it does not change him. The reason for this is that he's still considered a wide receiver. He's a slot receiver here. He's a slot receiver here. And if I were to motion him back across to the left, he's going to be a slot receiver on the other side of the formation as well. So you're going to notice here that with this, that it doesn't really allow us to get him into a max protect role. But again, you're still going to be able to kind of utilize this trick with your running back. Now, as it pertains this particular blitz that we just talked about, now that he's in an actual blocking assignment, this is going to allow for us to pick up the pressure. And then, of course, as we know, whip routes kill man-to-man, and we're able to pick up a pretty decent chain on a pretty safe throw. It's just a safety valve throw that you should have in every single offense. So this is kind of our first trick to a chips formation that I think you guys will want to utilize, is just the fact that we can motion him into the backfield, max protect, and then motion him back up to kind of block all these blitzes is a super big weapon, because a lot of players don't really know how to deal with the 2x3 type empty formation. Now, before I get into our next trick, make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel and also take time to check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. Now is the best time to take a look at Gridiron Game Plans, because you guys unlock the entire website for just $9.95. That's everything I've done in the game since August when the game dropped up until now, and I'm still updating the website weekly with vault content focused on the meta, or the most effective effective tactics available. This is what pro players are doing. And if pro players are doing it, you're sure to face people online that will as well. You guys will understand how things work and most importantly, how to beat it when you play it online. So you're getting the full story every single week as to the updated trends in Madden. And you guys could also bundle college football as well for $5 additional, bringing your total to $14.95 a month. Again, subscribe for one game, both games, and make sure you guys hop in our Discord where we have lab sessions every single week. You guys can attend and ask questions. I will answer them to help you guys improve right there on the spot. And if we don't find an answer, you can be assured that I will work on it until the next lab session, and it might actually end up becoming content in the future in the vault, because if it's something we can't find out in an hour, it's definitely something we need to dive into further, and it will appear on the website. So you guys can help drive the content on the website by attending our lab sessions as well. Again, go check it out, $9.95 a month. Now, one of the things that I've always taught at this point in the year with all the cards in Ultimate Team getting some crazy abilities is that you guys can kind of morph tight ends into wide receivers. And in this case, we can kind of morph running backs into receivers as well. We're just super powerful. Now, with the ability for us to put slot receiver routes on the field, you're going to notice right away that I also can kind of motion this player into the backfield and keep him on a corner route. This is a really cool thing because this is drastically different than the actual running back corner route like you see that I just hot routed him into. So we have a very different route tree that we can work with out of this particular role. So for instance, you're not always going to be able to motion a zig. When you motion a zig into the backfield, it turns into a swing, but I can also go the other direction with this as well. Let's take a look at this post route. This is a route right here where we kind of create a C route. If I motion this guy back up to this wing roll, you're going to notice that this turns into a C route to the outside, which is pretty widely known as one of the better zone flooding routes in the game. It just takes so long to get out to the sideline that you're going to be able to kind of run off your receiver down this left seam and then hit this route in that kind of tender area underneath of the outside third for a huge gain. So you see how easy it is for us to kind of create some unique route combinations with this as well. We can either motion slot receiver routes into the backfield, like you're going to see right here. I'm going to turn this into kind of like a red zone corner route. Or I could go ahead and put maybe a Texas route on the field and motion it back up to this role where it's now basically playing as a tight end trail. Again, reminder, these are not tight ends, these are slot receivers. So being able to get these types of follow combinations are going to be pretty valuable as well in a zone defense where maybe I want to create kind of a follow combo. This is something that you guys could very easily utilize and be able to beat zone in the middle of the field, provided you have the right coverage look and there's not a safety sit in the middle, of course. But again, pretty easy to be able to kind of just freestyle and ad lib out of this. The other thing that is really useful out of this formation as well is the fact that streaks to these players are not real streaks. And what I mean by that is I want you to take a look here at a streak to Tyler Warren in our right slot versus a streak to Jimmy Graham also in our right slot. Notice how Jimmy Graham gets an outside release. This is actually super valuable against cover 3 based defenses, because what this will do to those defenses is allow you to run other players on streaks and be able to pull the safety. So take a look at what I'm about to show you guys right here. This is actually a really cool concept. I could actually go ahead and run like a post to Tyler Warren, a slant to our left of screen wing, or maybe a zig if I want to attack the outside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of watch here as the Julio Jones seam is going to pull that safety on the right over Jimmy Graham further towards the middle of the field. And we're going to have an outside pass lead to Jimmy Graham up the middle. So you're going to see right here, I could actually rip this throw all the way over the top for a 1-play score when I'm facing a cover 3 defense. So this is just an example of the things that you can do with this. You can also, for what it's worth, straighten out your streaks if that's something you care about by just motioning Jimmy Graham out and then back in. This is valuable if you're going to be on the other side of the field and you want to draw the attention of that cover 3 safety the other direction. So again here, let's say that I wanted to use Jimmy Graham as kind of that vertical seam route. I just motion him out, motion him back in, and then put Y on the streak, and you see it gets that outside release. Now from here, I just need to pull the outside third, so I'd probably do something like this. Again, on the backside, maybe we run like a drive combo, maybe something with a drag and then a deep in over the top. Again, this is just a freestyling type of formation with great opportunity to block blitzes, again, utilizing motion, unique route combinations, just create stuff your opponent has to worry about. So again, we snap this ball here, and you're going to see that this route to our wide receiver was wide open, provided that the Colossus didn't get through the middle there and sack us. But again, you see how easily we can manipulate safeties in this defense as well, because we can use a straight streak and then a delayed streak at the same time. You're going to see here, I'm actually going to go up and kind of go side by side. You see how Jimmy Graham is a good 4 yards ahead of the other streak because he was straight off the ball. This allows this safety to stay over towards him and opens up this giant gap in between our post defender and then our outside third, which is preoccupied with the corner route to Julio Jones. So you see that this guy is going to have a giant patch of turf for us to work in this area of the field. A cover 3 simply can't guard this, whereas we have the ability to guard seam routes and other types of concepts out of basic formations that don't have these little tails on these streaks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. These are just a few of the freestyle things you can do out of Chip's formations. Hopefully you guys can apply these into your own offense. Again, for those wondering, I was in the Seattle playbook in today's video. You guys can find my full offense on Gridiron Game Plans, but I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the short this afternoon, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with our next long form upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.